Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the April session of the Paulding Planning Commission. I ask right now if you have any mobile devices or anything that may go off during this meeting, please turn them off or to silence so it doesn't interrupt the proceedings of this meeting. We are going to dispense with the reading of how to participate in a public meeting. I believe there on the back table is a copy of the policy regarding that, or maybe out in the lobby here. You're welcome to get a copy of it. It's riveting reading. At this point, I will ask the Planning Commission, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the previous session of this body? And do you have any edits or concerns, or are we good with that?
I
Hearing
move to accept the minutes as presented.
I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented by Ms. Turnbull and a second by Mr. Leggett. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0 and 1. Let me find out where I sign here, Chris. Before we begin with the agenda here, I would ask or advise everyone that this is a recommending body. We will hear each application as it comes before this body. We will ask questions of those that are presenting the application. Each side, those that are for, the applicant included, will get 15 minutes to present. You may use all of that time or reserve some for rebuttal. Anybody wanting to speak on behalf of the application, additional time will be taken from that 15 minutes. Anybody who may have questions, comments, or concerns regarding the application will speak in opposition on the opposition side. And again, that's a cumulative 15 minutes. If you have people lining up behind you, please be respectful of their time as well and limit your comments as best you possibly can. Both of the agenda items on today's ledger are in the city of Hiram in their jurisdiction. This is a formal proceeding that we will end up forwarding a recommendation from the Paulding Planning Commission to the city of Hiram Mayor and Council. At that point, they will schedule a legal public hearing within their jurisdiction for these applications that they must go through. So it will be forwarded to a work session scheduled at some point with the city of Hiram. You'll need to check with them if you're the applicant, and if it passes muster here, you'll need to check with them to make sure you know what time and date they're going to schedule the hearing. At this time, I will ask Chris if you will bring forth the first application.
Good afternoon. First application, 2019-06 SUP, City of Hiram. Application by RCCG Potter's Place. And I'm going to skip the name because I don't want to let y'all help me out. Thank you. For a special use permit on approximately 0.191 acres for worship center. Property is located in land lot 752, District 2, Section 3, south corner of Church Street and Main Street in Hiram. Address is 162 Main Street. Staff has noted one call or one email with concerns from the city, and it's recommended for, if it's approved, 3 stipulations that are printed and available. An applicant is present.
If the applicant would please come forward, sign in, state your name, and address the comments to the chair. Any questions to the applicant from the Planning Commission or from the Board of Commissioners will not count against your time.
My name is Adekunle Adebajo.
I'm Sandy Cole. I'm with Maximum One Realty. I am going to be speaking on his behalf. I've never done this before. It's nice to see a few familiar faces. They have applied for a permit to have their worship center at 162 Main Street. They are a very small, loving family worship center. They've just kind of been on their own, trying to worship, find a place that they can call home. They love this building. This building's been for sale for quite some time. I know the owner is very anxious to sell. So I think that we have found them a home in this building, and they want to be an asset to this community in downtown Hiram, and they want to, they're very small at this point, but their hopes are to grow and obviously potentially outgrow this building and just to spread God's word And they want this to be their home, and we just ask that y'all make the right recommendation and that the city of Hiram would do the same as well.
Thank you. At this, we'll start off by asking, you're familiar with the three stipulations that the county staff has recommended for
Yes,
this
sir.
application, and you are agreeable to those?
Absolutely.
And you do understand the reason why the SUP designation is required?
We do.
And why you're going through this process?
Yes, sir.
Were there any questions to the applicant from the Planning Commission?
I have some questions. So the church is purchasing the property, they haven't purchased it yet, is that true?
That's correct. There is a contract.
Okay. Is the church, does the church understand that they don't have any I don't think they meet the setback requirements of the city of Hiram?
They do understand that, which is, from my understanding, the reason for getting the special use permit. There is parking available on the side. I know that's a potential, that's been one of the issues and one of the three requirements, but we can take the fence down and add parking on that side. As far as the setbacks, there's not really anything we can do about that except get it approved.
Do they also understand that they'll have to come up with an agreement with the city of Hiram as far as sewer to this facility? I don't believe it fits the category because of the nearby residences for septic tank.
We have already addressed that issue, and the city of Hiram is going to put in a tap, and they are prepared to hook up to the tap and have sewer. Yes, sir.
To clarify that point, I want to make sure you understand that the sewer system itself is owned by Paulding County. You will go through the city of Hiram as far as your contract. However, the tap fees that are going to be established for this connection will be determined by the Paulding County Water and Sewer Department.
Yes, sir, we're aware. We've
Okay.
addressed that. Thank you.
Any more questions for the applicant? Board of Commissioners, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would wish to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone that would wish to speak in opposition to this application or may have questions, comments, or concerns regarding it? Hearing none, at this time, I will close that public comment and I will entertain a motion from the Planning Commission regarding application 2019-06-SUP, City of Hiram.
Motion to approve with all three stipulations.
I have a motion to approve,
Second.
and I have a second from Ms. Turnbull. The motion to approve with Mr. Lowe, I didn't say that, sorry. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 4-1 and 1. Give me just 1 second. Mr. Robinson?
Okay, the next application, final application today is 2019-07 SUP, City of Hiram. Application by Fairway Hiram 3 LLC for a special use permit on approximately 6.30 acres for self-storage facility to include climate controlled, non-climate controlled, and RV storage. Property is located in land lot 663, District 19, Section 2, north of Windy Bagwell Parkway, and it's east of Poplar Springs Road. It's in Commission Post 3. It's also, as I said, it's in the City of Hiram. We've had, I believe, one phone call with some concerns, and staff has recommended it be approved. The prior stipulations from the zoning from 2003 would continue to stay in place.
No changes, no moderation?
No changes, no moderations.
Is the applicant present?
The applicant is present.
If you please come forward, sign in, state your name, and address your comments to the chair.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corey Ostel. I am the civil engineer representing the applicant, Fairway Investments. We've got both the developer for the larger tract of land as well as the self-storage developers here with us today to help address any questions I cannot. Just some background for this site. Like the application mentioned, we are seeking a special use permit for approximately 6.3 acres of a roughly 24-acre site, meaning not the entire parcel will need to be under the special use permit because of just the way the development will work out. If you look at the overall site plan, from what you can see, the current site is completely undeveloped, so we're seeking approval to have a self-storage facility located in the back of the property that will not be the closest portion to the main Highway 278. You can see we have proposed a private road that will be running through the site. The front part of the site that will be the most visible to Highway 278 is proposed to be future out parcel development. So there'll be retail space, restaurant space, that type of thing, as well as everywhere going to the west of the property. The owner, the larger developer, also owns the tract to the west. So we're really looking at this being kind of the first steps towards a larger development for that overall piece of land, which, like I've mentioned, has been sitting by and large undeveloped. We are very aware of the requirements that will be needed in this area. For example, we're already working with the landscape architect for the 40-foot landscape buffer that's required on the backside of the property, since we know that is a residential buffer. It is currently a very heavily wooded area, so we are going to try to maintain that as much as possible because that's one of the best natural buffers that we can have between a residential and then a kind of commercial, more developed area. We're also aware that this falls into a corridor overlay district, which has certain requirements for the just general facade of the building to maintain a certain aesthetic look. Overall, I think that kind of addresses most of the summary of the site, but I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you may have.
You've already been made aware of all the existing stipulations on the property, correct?
Correct. Yes, and we've actually we met with we had just a general preliminary meeting last calendar year with all the important parties, the water and sewer, the DOT folks, planning and zoning, and we also met several weeks ago with planning and zoning by themselves to talk about this property specifically.
In the development regulations for Paulding County, there is a requirement for interparcel connectivity along 278. And I do understand that the road that you're presenting is going to be one that will connect additional parcels as they develop. You do, however, have immediately east of this location a development inside Powder Springs, Cobb County. Are you going to create connectivity there as well?
That is the intention. Obviously, that'll have to be worked out with the owner and the developer on that side of the line. But you can actually see, for those of you unaware, the eastern property line represents the end of Hiram and the end of Paulding County and the beginning of Cobb County. And there is a small retail strip center in the front along Highway 278 there. So we would like to maintain continuity to that. There is an existing access easement, and we'd like to make slight modifications to that to help plan out for that connection. So if we can get the other side to kind of meet us in the middle there, we will. That is the future intention for connectivity.
Are there any questions from the Planning Commission to the applicant?
What kind of surface is the parking area going to be? Is it going to be gravel or paved?
It'll be paved with asphalt.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Robert High. I'm with the construction and development of the self-storage.
And I see you've got the temperature controlled.
Yes,
but
sir.
Is there going to be any kind of vehicles on that site?
And if you look at the rear, back of the property, there's two buildings. They are completely enclosed boat and RV units. So there will be storage for them. That's a specially designed building. They're approximately 14 feet wide by 50-foot deep, but they're fully enclosed individual units.
So there will be no provision for outside storage of such vehicles?
We don't have any outside storage planned on the property.
Is it only RV vehicles? Only RV vehicles?
We typically see boats and RVs utilize these sites, these units. They do have a fresh air system to account for those type vehicles.
Any further questions from the Planning Commission? Board of Commissioners? As a person who works for the city of Hiram, transportation and the congestion that we have along 278 is of keen interest to me. The reason I asked the question about the interconnectivity between parcels, I would ask, is there anything that you could add from the county DOT staff? Mr. Jones?
I'll add, obviously, State Route 6, US 278 is a state highway, so it'll have to go through the state highway plan process to look at that. GDOT will investigate that to see it meets their criteria also. We're looking at initiating a study, depending on board approval, about 278 between Atlanta Highway and Bill Caruth Parkway, Poplar Springs Road, to improve traffic conditions. As you know, it's very congested, so we also have an interest in making sure that traffic flows through this area as good as it possibly can.
Thank you, George.
If I may say, a facility of this size in general generates about 35 to 40 trips a day. We typically, or this facility is typically open gate hours from maybe 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. The office is 9 to, let's say, 6 o'clock Monday through Saturday. And the average stay is probably somewhere around 17.42 minutes per stay. So we have lots of traffic studies, and we find it this is a very lightly used use.
And your understanding of the requirements within this SUP to have a development like this with an on-site residential manager, I believe, is one of the questions that we had, is it not? Was there, I believe I had a discussion with one of the staff.
I don't know that I've heard that.
Okay.
We would not be having our intent
Okay.
would not be have a residential
Okay.
manager there.
I-
But I don't think
It
we
is
talked about
allowed
that.
under the zoning ordinance that if they choose
Okay.
to have one, that is correct.
I remember having the discussion, and I wanted to make sure we addressed it.
Our building is designed not to have one.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything further that anybody would like to add, speaking on behalf of the application?
Will the low-impact lighting, will that be covered under the city, during the city process? As far as adjoining
That
residential
would be covered
properties?
under the plan review process with the county, because they'll still have to go through the development permitting with the county.
Yes, and it is subject to highway overlay district, even in the city of Hiram, which requires the shielded box lighting and a maximum height, I think, of 35 feet.
Thank you.
To answer your question a little better, we typically provide a full cutoff down lighting on this product, and it would not. We would not have a 35-foot building. It's going to be 20 feet, probably 20 feet at the highest for the light.
Okay. Any other questions from the planning commission?
I actually do have one more question. So you have no intention of having like a dump station or anything like that for the RVs, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Mr. Darden?
Well, yeah, I would just like to say, representing Fairway Investments, my name is Paul Darden. Just want to reiterate what Corey said earlier about this spurring more commercial and retail on this property. We've owned the property now for over 12 years. We've worked with the city of Hiram in the county for several years now, trying to come up with the best use that we can. We really think by just pushing some dirt out here, we're going to be able to create more interest and more activity for us to get that commercial and retail that's desired to serve the residents and serve the city and the municipality.
Go ahead and sign in if you would. Is there anyone else that would wish to speak on behalf of this application? Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. Is there anyone that would wish to speak in opposition to this application, may have questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, at this time, I will entertain a motion regarding application 2019-07-SUP, City of Hiram.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Mr. Lowe.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Aston. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0 and 1. Again, both these applications will be forwarded to the City of Hiram for a hearing, a legal public hearing at their appropriately scheduled work session that meets with the advertising requirements for zoning. You'll need to call the City of Hiram to get that scheduled. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn from Mr. Lowe. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Henson. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0 and 1. Y'all have a wonderful day.